Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Tuesday. It's October the 11th. This will be our chart lesson for the day. And if you were looking for a chart lesson yesterday, um, I didn't do one simply because it was Columbus Day, and I came in for a little bit, but there just wasn't anything happening. There was a little bit of movement for the day, but you know, who wants to hang around and wait on it? So by the time, this is what we saw really from had a little move up and then a little move down, but most of the morning was sitting here watching this, and I figured to do that all day, so I left. So no chart lesson yesterday, but anyway, nice trend down today. Notice we got a trend line down. We get a close outside, we get a leg down, then we get a correction, and we get another trend down with a close outside, move to a new low, and then we reversed, and we've been working higher ever since. And really, there's a bigger pattern in here. It doesn't really matter. There's a bigger pattern here. But in the end, it doesn't really matter. You can see that this is all you needed here because they got you into the 2 o'clock hour. But notice that larger pattern working there. But fairly easy day. Lots of runners today. Just about every one of these would have caught a runner. Let's back out. We'll talk about the trades, and won't take too long today. It's pretty straightforward. When I came in, we were working down. Notice that we made a new high here. There's a first entry long, pull back, second entry long. And where does it turn down? Right off that first two swings, you draw the trend line there. You could have drawn it here and drug it up and really been ready for this one. This one's a possibility, but it's a little bit early. The time on that one's about 6:27, so it's a little bit early. If you were here, that would have been a nice one to take, but anyway, you get the failed second entry long here and it turned down right off the trend line, which is a key entry place. And guess what? This is the high of the day. So if you entered right here on this trap and confirmation of that trend line, you can ride this thing all the way down. And you never had any real heat on your um, stop at all. You might have had to use a limit order here, but it would have come back and probably filled it. Notice it came back here, so you could have at least, you should have been able to get in that trade. You probably wouldn't have got your stop in time, but you could have at least got a limit order in there and got filled. And it takes off. This is a double top, so you could treat this like a failed second entry long, but look how close it is to the low. And then, of course, it would have still worked if you've taken it. But I wouldn't take that without close to the lows. But notice how it just starts working sideways here. And it finally pushes through, pulls back, gives you a breakout pullback short, and we go lower. Normally, I would say I'd be leery of this without it coming back to the trend line. But notice we haven't touched the lower side yet. So that's probably where prices are headed. So I like this one, even though it's close to the low. And even though we're not back to the trend line, that's why I like it. This is a fairly strong trend, and we aren't to the low side yet. And notice what happens when we get to the low side. It works to the other side, just like what you'd expect to try to happen. And the fact that it can only go sideways to get back over there tells you this market's still pretty weak. You could treat this as a failed break higher, but mostly it's just another turn down right off the key entry point. So just go short right there below that bar. And again, it's off to the races. And again, any runners would have been safe. This one you could have caught on a stop real easy, and it takes off. And then we come down and notice that we start working. Notice how we're getting this repeat pattern. We're just kind of working across, and then going lower. And again here, we weren't back to the trend line. There's a new high right here, first entry long, pullback second entry, and so this is like a little double test of this high right here, and we made a lower high. It's a real small bar, very low risk, but it's not back to that trend line yet. and we didn't come off the low side yet either, though. So the odds are we're probably still going lower, but we've been going down for a long time, so you never know, we may get a break here. So even though this one would have worked, I'm a little bit leery of it just because it's still in that range, and you got those lows right there. So I really think you're better off to skip it. And look what happens. It doesn't go very far before it backs up, and you finally go outside and you get that little breakout pullback short again. Just like here, uh, this one's not really a breakout pullback short, but it's the same thing. We're going sideways, and then you get a chance to enter going sideways, and you get a little higher low on a second entry short right there. So I like going short right there, and again, off it goes, off to the races. So again, you would have had a runner here. It comes back here and hits the trend line, but we're just going too much sideways there. So I really don't like it. And plus we've had a break and we've got a new low here yet. So you need to wait on something, a really nice trap or something that's almost a sure thing to go short. And notice what happens. You get a second entry short right here. Notice the new low, first entry, pull back second entry. But notice the new high here, and you pull back first entry, second entry. So it's a failed second entry long trap on a second entry short with a bearish bar. So I like that one. A lot of times you'll get two legs down to a new low. So if you measure this one and you're looking for that second leg, then you got a long way to go. We don't end up getting another full leg down before it corrects. And generally on these corrections, they're going to last about an hour or so. And this one corrected from about right around 10:30 to almost noontime before it headed lower again. And but you've got everything in place now for a correction. And that correction could mean you get a reversal. But on a big, strong trend day like this where it's all down, I'm guessing you're going to get a new trend to the downside. And that's what you get here. But anyway, come back to the reversal. Notice we got the new low. You get a first entry short, second entry short. It bounces right here. This is basically a reversal pattern. This is not perfect because I would have liked for it to stay above the EMA, but you do set your trend line off those first two swings, and then it pulls back and ticks lower and bounces right again. That confirms that trend line. So now I like that one for sure. Pulls back again right here, and you get a second entry really counting, or a failed second entry short counting off that low right there. So I meant to have that one marked too, and I missed it. Your stop has to go below this bar, and that's one reason why I meant to come back and mark that one. I was going back and forth about whether or not to make it green or not, but I still think it should be blue. It's a short trap, and people are still thinking short. But it comes back right here and gives you another second entry long. Notice the new high, pull back first entry, pull back second entry. Nice little reversal ball right off the trend line again. And this time, more people jump in. And I guess a bunch of people that were trying to get short again get trapped. And actually, this is really two legs up. And consider that a second entry, but look how far away it is from the EMA, and it is an overshoot of that channel. Of course, it could just be that it's a two-tiered channel, so you don't know yet. So it's a little bit risky, but it probably still deserves a green bar. I'll be honest, I like that entry, being that far away from the EMA, being that small of a bar, being a reversal type bar. Also, you got a little shorter term trend line working up right there. And you get a close outside, move to a new high, and boom, off it goes. And if you caught this one, it's a nice runner. The safer entry is probably here, but it's still not a perfect entry because it's more going sideways. But notice you get a higher low right there, and it's like a little pullback that tests that trend line again, and off it goes lower. So it's a little aggressive because it's not a great setup, but I still like it for at least a green one. And then you pull back here, and this could actually be considered a failed second entry long because that's your first, really it's your first break higher. So this is truly your second entry long right here that fails, but you got other reasons to enter by that time. There's actually a trend line working up through there, and notice you get a break with a close outside, new high, and it forms. Notice how I drew that trend line right off those first two closes. Fits perfectly right there. Even if you didn't, you'd draw it right now off these two. But you got enough reason to go short just because the EMA is working there. So you don't even need that trend line, even if you couldn't find it. And look at it go. And you do get another failed second entry long here, but it's too close to the lows. I think you're better off to wait. It moves on down. But anyway, this one really you could probably give this one a green too. Going back to it, I kind of jumped ahead there for a second. But you could give that a green one because it's right off the EMA, and your trend line could be a little bit steeper as well. Turns out this is right, but you know, at that point you could have played with it a little bit and talked yourself into it. But anyway, regardless, it's a failed second entry long, really. This is pretty much two legs down and then another attempt to go higher. So, but I think you're better off to skip it because you don't have a break of this trend line working up yet. And you can see that little gap over it right there. It's probably a little bit flatter. I'd definitely draw it flatter after that gap. You can see that catches it, and then you get the close, pull back, and off it goes. And then we continue to work lower. This is a double top, so there's another failed second entry long right here, but again, it's so close to the lows, I think you're better off to wait. And then it finally pulls back, you get a close outside, move to a new high. It's just a repeat pattern of this right here. Go short right there below that red bar, and you get another nice move. And again, you would have caught some runners there. And then now you got to close outside, move to a new low. Look what happens. You come back first entry short, you go higher, second entry short, it fails. So that's a failed second entry short, and it does kind of give you a little trend line right up through there. It's awfully sideways though, and this is really a neutral bar, more of a doji. It doesn't matter what your signal bar looks like on a trout, but still, I think you're better off. It's pretty risky, but it does fit our pattern that you can go long there. And then there really wasn't anything else that got you. You don't get another entry till it comes back to this trend line again right here. And by that time, it's after 2 o'clock, so it's too late. So you didn't need that really. It was a really good trading day. If you just caught one or two of any of these and had a runner, you were in great shape. But when you do have a day like this, if you can catch your runner and hang on to it as long as you can, it's probably never a bad thing. Once you get a break right here and a new low, I'd probably look for a place to exit. Even if you do get another entry short, I'd still look for, like here, I'd still look for a reason to exit, most likely, because it's not long before this comes, and then you just find another entry and do the same thing again. So that's the way I like to do it. I don't talk as much about exits for that reason, because the exiting is more personality driven. Me, I don't like to see me have a profit to here and then watch it correct all the way to here and give that much of your profit back, even though it would have ended up going much lower. Sometimes that doesn't happen. It just keeps going higher, and it could have. So I don't like to give mine back, so I like to exit. But other people, they're not as good at picking the entries and re-entering and exiting, so they like to catch a runner and hang on to it as long as they can. So that's why I say exits are more personality driven, because if you're doing something you're not comfortable with, then it messes with you mentally, and you start to make lots of mistakes and trading errors. However, if you're trading and you're comfortable, then you tend to think better, you make less mistakes, and you don't make as many errors, basically. So I hope that makes sense. I hadn't said that in a while, but really good trading day. Again, if you were looking for the chart lesson yesterday, well, I just didn't do one because of the holiday. The volume was awfully thin and just not much going on. So, but really good trading day today. I've got done with wanted to do the chart lesson a little early and get it out there, and it'll be a short week this week. We've still got Wednesday and Thursday, and then we'll wrap up this week. So, but we'll be back again to do it tomorrow. Hope you had a great trading day. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.